So we're here to solve this Tetropia hex puzzle by Prasanna Seshadri, and the name is a play on Pentopia. Pentopia is pentominoes with myopia clues. In this case, it's tetrahexes with that same myopia type of clue. Normal thing in these puzzles is to mark off all the cells right near a clue that don't have arrows, because the closest these shaded cells can be is right near those arrows, and then the remaining ones won't be used. And so I got these three, the top and bottom positions on the diagonal for these center row clues. These four around that set, these three around the set, and this set, I think, are all the gimmies that you mark off. And when you do that, you then come back through any of these clues and say, well, like this one has three options in this direction, 1, 2, or 3 away, but in the other direction it only has one option, just one away. So we know this for sure. This clue gets finished. Upper right cell, same thing, 1, 2, 3 in this option, but 1, not 2, not 3 in this option. So these straight away get filled in. Marking those in, this now doesn't allow something to be 2 away. It has to be 1 away so that this doesn't have an arrow in this direction. That puts something right near this arrow. This gets marked in. Coming to the bottom, we've got this clue that has something 1 or 2 away, but in this direction it can only be 1 away, so these are all closely packed. That means on this side of this clue they're also closely packed. This lower left cell can take the first 2, but then makes a pentahex. That's not going to work, so it has to be at least 1 away. That means it's exactly 2 away. That marks us in. Marks off the cell that would otherwise join these, so this is a P or a Y shape. That cell's never getting used. This arrow clue is now fulfilled. And over here we can be either 2 away or 1 away with how the set goes. This would require like this shape or maybe something else, but we've got an okay start to this clue. And let's sort of zoom out from the grid for a second. And this is where a thing to remember, and we covered some of this early in the week with the tetrahex set, this S policy set, is there are 7 of these things. And how many shapes do I have starred in this grid? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and none of these can join. Like these are 5 apart, so none of these are close enough to be the same thing. And so what that means is all the SPOLICY are going into this grid, and I've also placed a lot of them, at least at the starts of all of them right now. And so some things will be where there are unique ones of them to place. Another thing that I'm going to look at is where there's some really unusual clues right now that may be tough to reach. So here's a cell I can never reach with an existing tetrahex, and if I've got to take some stuff down here, this is going to join over to this space. So let's remember I have to take at least this cell or that cell, and that's going to join in some space to the tetrahex over here, which means this isn't reachable. That now means this isn't reachable. And so this clue is having a hard time getting to a tetrahex cell. Its first options are really here, and it's got to have a close option because 1, 2, 3, 4 away is a shaded cell in a non-arrow direction. So I've got to be 3 away in this direction. So the first sure tetrahex I think I can place in this grid is this being an S. And that comes again from recognizing there are 7 shapes I've started, and I've got to fulfill this arrow clue. This being 3 away marks off this, and this, and this, and this. That now forces the closest cell here, which forces both of these arrows to point to the same thing. We get a C for sure in the grid. That marks this off. We can't come down and touch this. This top set that has 3 bending isn't another S, so it's either a P or a P. Both of those P's force this to be a Y. And I will mark that I effectively know where the P is in the grid. So I've got an O, L, and I to place. Often the tricky shape then is this straight long shape. So where can I go? Can this be an I? No, it would join too far in this direction and it would cut into shaded space in this direction. This doesn't have 3. Sorry, it has 3 but not 4 in this direction as well. So this isn't the I, that's not the I, so there's the I. That completes this P. We're now left with just the O and the L, and this has to have a shaded cell here or here to really work out. So the way to kind of quickly note this is if this is the O, notice it cancels these, but now the arrow is not pointing the right way. So this isn't the O, this is part of the O. All the O's that use that take this cell, and then looking further from that, they don't have to take this, but they always take this. And so we can mark these around this group. We still though need to place a valid L into the grid, and so that's going to need to do this, and that now does finish the O, and we're through the puzzle. So a good workout for this Thursday puzzle, but a lot comes back to basic Pentopia-like arrow markings, getting those close cells really marked in, and then recognizing at that start we had all 7 shapes marked. So that was the key aha on this grid, is we have 7 shapes marked, and now what are some tough clues? This arrow clue and this shaded cell right here being the hardest things to fulfill. So thanks for watching this video. Thanks, Prasanna, for the puzzle, and we'll see you again soon.